All right, there we go. Now we're live. Sorry, guys. Once again, having technical difficulties. Welcome to the ARCA Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Colby Evans, a.k.a. Start and Park Car from Twitter. And boy, we have a big show. And I mean, this is a very big show for you guys today. It is the main series finale review. Yes, the ARCA Menards main series has wrapped up for 2023. We still got a couple races to go in the West Circuit. But overall, the main series is done. The East series was done at Bristol. Now the main series is wrapped up. We're going to talk about everything that happened at the race at Toledo. Who won the Owners' Championship? Obviously, we know who won the Drivers' Championship. We're going to go over who won some special awards that the main series gives out. And, of course, then we're going to preview this weekend's race, literally tomorrow night's ARCA West race. They have 3 races left on their 2023 schedule. We'll be previewing that race as well. So, yeah, big show for everyone today. Sorry again about the issues. Been having a lot of internet issues lately. Thank you all for still joining me for tonight's show. I'm going to go through my little podcast intro I go through at the beginning of every show, and we will jump right into the ARCA Racing action. So, of course, follow me on social media, Start and Park Car on Twitter. We just crossed 5,200 followers, so if you could leave a follow on there, it'd be much appreciated. Like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that bell for notifications. We are less than 200 subscribers away from 1,500, and at 1,500, we will have yet another giveaway. So if you want a giveaway, we got to get to 1,500. And, of course, check out theracingexperts.com for all NASCAR media-related content, the official media content partner of this podcast. Whew, one day I'm going to get that pre-recorded. So yeah, the main series finale at one of my favorite ARCA tracks, Toledo, beautiful little short track. And literally Toledo, Ohio. It's a fun little track. It's been a long time member of the ARCA schedule. It's provided lots of great races. They started coming back to Toledo for the main series finale. Last year it had been at Kansas for really quite a while. It was at Kansas for quite a while. The last couple years, it was at Kansas when we had only like 20-car fields. I'll admit it was sad. It was kind of sad seeing the ARCA fields so bad at Kansas, and then it would have to call that the finale race. At least if we had maybe like 20, 25 cars at Toledo, that would put on a way better race, and it would. And even with this field only being 18 cars, it would have been a better race here than it would have been at Kansas for sure. And then that comes to the field size. Last year's field size was 24. This year's field size was 18. Obviously a disappointment from last year, but you also got to consider the fact of teams that existed last year compared to this year. We had 2 Rev cars last year, only 1 this year. We had the 43 Xfinity ARCA team from GMS. They weren't here. Tricon Garage was not here. The 44 car, which was that second GMS entry under Jeff McClure, they were not here as well. I believe no 55 car from Venturini. Venturini only had 3 cars. Jeffrey McZink, the 65 car, he was going to show up. But the damage from Michigan, I believe, was maybe too much for them to repair, so they couldn't get the car ready in time. Like I said, a few more cars that may have shown up, didn't have the potential to show up, unfortunately, but there were reasons definitely why we did not have as big of an entry list this year. And it's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. We knew who was going to win the race anyway. It's not like it would have been noticeable, you know. So I want to see 65. I know. I would love to see 65 show up too in the chat, but this ain't 2007 anymore. So yeah, we'll go over the entry list. 18 cars, kind of your standard entry list. We only had a few oddball entries. Sean Hingorani was in the 25 this week. Dylan Smith, Mamba, the NASCAR. He's a NASCAR ambassador. He's a really badass guy. Cool guy. He'll be driving for Young's at Phoenix, but he got a last-minute call to drive the 15 here. Daryl Basham. Yes, Daryl Basham, 74 years old. Great to see him back. Nate Moeller, again, for Peterson. Mike Basham in a Kimmel entry. That was a late entry. Mason Ludwig for the Jeff Spraker team. And, of course, Andy Jankowiak. So we had a couple of oddball entries in there. We did have 1 car withdraw, the 45 of Tony Cosentino and the Tomeo Racing team. They withdrew. It's kind of sad what happened to that team. They were so competitive. I was shocked at how competitive that 45 team was this year. They really showed so much speed, but they had no sponsorship. And unfortunately, especially in this series, you can only go so long before you really run out of money and you got to get that sponsorship. And unfortunately, they didn't shut down. They just kind of have to sit and wait until something comes along. I was hoping that they would run this race just for the hell of it because it's the last race of the season. They could probably get a top 5 finish, but unfortunately, they decided not to. So that sucks. But they will be back. I'm not saying they're shutting down. They will be back. They just need help coming back. So yeah, we had 18 cars. Of the field, I predicted maybe 2 to 3 starting parks. We knew Tim Monroe, he was always a starting park outside of the dirt tracks. He was racing he was racing one of Andy's oldest cars, a car that usually does a lot of starting parks. I was hoping Mike Basham wouldn't be a starting park, mainly because he's done so many starting parks this year, and I wanted to see him run the whole race, but he was. He was in the same car that ran at DuQuoin and Flat Rock. The real big thing coming into this race was the 18 versus the 20. Shocker. It's a new battle. Yeah, no, it's something we had seen a lot of this year. The 18 versus the 20. Jesse Love had already clinched the Drivers' Championship at this point, but it was a matter of the Owners' Championship. The 18 had kind of slipped behind the last couple races and had come into this race 14 points behind. I was genuinely shocked that we did not see an 81 car entered to try to help JGR win this Owners' Championship. I thought it was going to get ugly. Well, again, we'll get into that in the race. I thought it was going to get ugly between the two, but as we'd come to find out, it wouldn't. But as we knew, the 18 team were here to play, but so was the 20. And it just amazes me, like I said, how much faster these guys really are than the field. It really just goes to show you how hard Venturini is trying with that 20 car and how much money JGR is putting in that 18 car. When the funny part is, guys, they really don't need to. I mean, the amount of money that they are putting into these two cars, I get it. You want to win, and I love the competition. You know, Sawalich, great driver. Jesse Love, great driver. But really, guys, we don't need to be putting this kind of money into ARCA. I mean, it's a great series, and it's a good developmental series, but, man, you don't need to be putting this kind of money. I mean, this is Xfinity series level money into this series. That's not really what the ARCA series was made for. The ARCA series was made for a couple of guys who could throw together a race car, you know, guys like Brad Smith and Andy Hillenberg. That's why they are such longtime competitors of this series. You know, same with Rev Racing for its developmental series. But they were faster, 0.2 faster than third place, which, again, just at a place like Toledo shows you just how freaking fast these guys were going. I mean, seriously, 0.2 faster than third place at Toledo, man. That is so impressive. That is really impressive. Andres Perez was third. Dylan Smith was fourth. Sean Hingorani was fifth. Frankie Muniz was sixth. Andy Jankowiak was seventh. Christian Rose was eighth. Mason Lugway was ninth. John Garrett was 10th. And then, of course, you kind of got the rest of the stragglers. Rita Goulet was not the slowest. She ran the most laps in practice. 77 laps of practice. Was still 3 seconds off. But, you know, I will say she's getting a little better. But she's still not fast in a way. Qualifying came up next. I actually had picked Sawalich to win the pole, but unshockingly, and Jesse Love, man, they sure got their qualifying trim turned out. Shocker, the 20 and the 18 were on the front row again, and again beat the field by almost 2 full tenths of a second. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. And I'll say this, as much as boring as it can be, seeing the 18 and the 20 constantly above each other every week ahead of the field, you also in some ways have to respect it. At some point, as annoying as it can be, I actually respect the fact. I respect the fact that these two teams competitive so hard against each other that they just have these unbelievable setups and these unbelievable, I mean, they're going full bore with their engines, their Elmores, every week, probably swapping them out every single week, compared to some of the people in the field who don't even swap it out or swap it out every 5 races. You know, you got to respect that. You got to respect their will to compete. But it's just like I said, you don't have to spend that kind of money in this series. That's not really what this series was made for. Kind of funny. But yeah, they were the top two. Hingorani was third. Perez was fourth. Jankowiak actually showed great speed in fifth. And then kind of, like I said, the usual guys. Again, with only an 18-car field, everybody was kind of in the spot you expected them to be in. There were really no surprises, if you know what I mean. Everyone was just kind of where they were. So we got to the race. I like the fact that this was run later in the day, not early in the day, because I was able to see all of it. I raced home from work to see all of this. So the race got going, and unshockingly, the 18 and the 20 pulled out to a huge lead. Jesse Love got the jump on the 18 of Sawalich. And as we've seen a lot this year, is the 20 has amazing takeoff speed. If there's one thing I can really give the 20 team is they do, and really realistically this whole season, have had better takeoff speed than the 18 car. Where the 18 car, I feel like, is beating them sometimes is long run speed. That's where I feel like the 18 beats the 20 team. And now I'm not saying that the 20 car didn't have good long run speed, but I feel like at tracks like this, that's where the 18 team has the advantage. And the reason why I feel like they have that advantage, even though Venturini has been around a long time, they have the Cup experience, the Xfinity experience. I feel like that's the advantage that the 18 has over the 20. Even though the 20 has run in bigger series, they don't have that unlimited access to technology or to data and history like the 18 does. That's where the 18, in my personal opinion, is beating the 20 at tracks like this. The 15 and the 25, they do not. No, Sean Hingorani, he has better takeoff speed. I'm not sure if his car does. We know Sean Hingorani can sometimes get up to second place, but he can't hold it. So yeah, the race gets going. Our starting parks, they got off the track quickly. Tim Monroe, he completed 5 laps. Like I said, I wish Mike Basham would have ran the whole thing, but he completed 11. And Brad Smith, he was a shocker. I expected Brad to run the whole race. I know money has gotten a little tight, so maybe it's not shocking to see Brad start in park the last race of the season. This season as a whole, not very good for Brad. A lot of DNFs compared to last year. Didn't run as many full races this year. Lots of problems. Just trying to get the second car done. The Chevrolet needed a much-needed break. But Brad's a fighter, man. He will be back next year. So we had those 3 cars done early, which left basically the final 15 cars on track to go the full race. We did have some fun moments before the race had started. Rita Goulet was basically, I don't know what the heck was happening to her car. Was there oil on the headers, oil on the pipes? I have no idea what happened to her, but her car was basically blowing up before the race started. It was confusing, but yet, I mean, they called it on the broadcast too. It's like all of a sudden her car was smoking so badly, but yet then it just starts the race like there's nothing wrong with it. It's like, what happened? I'm friends with Tim Goulet. I really should have asked him. I should have just asked Tim Goulet, but I'm curious, what the heck happened? What the heck happened to the 31 car? It was smoking like crap, and then just starts the race, no problem. But yeah, the clear part is the 18 and the 20, going back to the leaders, they quickly put a gap on the field. I mean, the 20 and the 18, sorry. Jesse Love quickly put a gap on Sawalich, about a 10th or 2. But, man, they were quickly pulling away from third place. Hingorani had solidified himself in third. And then it was kind of Andres Perez, Mason Ludwig, and Christian Rose and Dylan Smith kind of battling from 4th to 7th. Then you just kind of had Frankie Muniz and Andy Jankowiak. They were competitive, but also not really. Andy, his car was, you could tell, was long run more than short run. And then, of course, then you had the stragglers. And the problem, again, with a track like this, like I said, Toledo only being a half-mile track is it's just like Bristol and a lot of these other short tracks we go to. When you're already slow, it's hard to stay fast, but also stay out of the way. Darrell Waltrip says that a lot. One of the worst parts about Bristol back in the day was the fact of how hard it was, for these lap cars to keep a decent pace because you're trying to stay out of the way of the leaders. I mean, you could tell even by looking at qualifying, these lap cars, I mean, they were slow, yes, but it's not like they were 8 seconds a lap off the pace. They were about, 2 or 3 seconds. The problem is, though, is that once you get into lap traffic, and especially these long green flag runs where they constantly have to stay slower in the bottom groove, they're just going to get slower and slower and slower and slower when they're probably physically faster than that. So you had like the 31, the 06, the 11, 03, and the 12 were the, kind of the full race stragglers. They're going as fast as they can. Like, I'm not saying they were going slow. They're going as fast as they can. Moeller, it was his first full race. So, obviously there were some nerves there, but he was giving it everything probably he had. We know Rita probably could have gone a little faster. Rita was definitely hugging that apron pretty much all the time. Alex, you could tell he was giving it all he had, and same with Stephanie. John Garrett for Fast Track, for his own Veer Motorsports Fast Track team, he was actually pretty competitive. He could hang with guys like the 73 and the 30 for about the first 20, 25, 30 laps, maybe even the first 50. He had pretty good pace, but you could kind of tell that as the long run kept going, his car began to fade. So like the other stragglers, he began going laps down, but he was still holding a decent pace compared to the other guys who were, they were struggling out there. Again, I don't understand why we're taking 100 horsepower away from these guys. They're already slow, and taking away another extra 100 horsepower from them is only going to make it worse. That's what I don't understand. Okay? Especially when we go to tracks like Michigan. Why would you let a guy out there race with only 500 horsepower when the leaders have over 600? Of course they're going to be that much faster than them. Duh. Well, yeah, and they look slow when they take the green too, because, they can only accelerate so fast because that's all they have in the car. So, again, I feel like in some ways, ARCA, all due respect to the series, they do it to themselves sometimes. Like, cars like the 03, the 06, and the 48 might not be, they'll be slow. I'm not going to say they're going to be competitive. They'll still be slow, but they won't be as slow if they have that extra 100 horsepower. Does that make sense? So, yeah, they're getting lapped. The 18, like I said, over time, the long run speed of William Sawalich really started to play a factor. And by the time we had gotten to the first scheduled break, because we went the first 75 laps green, the 18 had definitely gotten there. On lap 53, he finally made the pass. He had been working him over for a couple laps. They had some trouble getting around some lap cars. I believe we came back from a break, because I don't think we saw the pass on TV. But the 18 had gotten in front. And let me tell you, man, when that 18 got out front, the 20 was not going to catch him. The 20 was not going to catch him. It was definitely clear. Like I said, guys, the 18 team had really thought this through and went with a long run car, whereas the 20, it looked like they had a better short run car. And on a track like this, now you could expect, a track like Toledo, you expect the chaos, you expect the cautions. So maybe they were thinking, well, we'll see a lot of yellows, maybe we'll get a lot of short runs, and we'll be better off. And that would have benefited them. But this was a long run type race, unfortunately. So lap 53, we get our first lead change between the two leaders. So lap 53, Sawalich takes the lead. He pulls to a huge lead before the break. At the scheduled break, we literally have, I think, 5 or 6 cars on the lead lap. Sawalich, Love, Hingorani, Perez, and Christian Rose, and maybe Andy J. Were they the 6 cars on the lead lap? So again, you only had 6 tires in the pits. So at the 2 scheduled breaks, most teams would probably take 2 right side tires for the first break and then take the 4 tires for the second break, because obviously, at a track like Toledo, tires are everything. So we get back going again on lap 80. Sawalich does get a decent run. We run about 20 laps. Again, nothing really in between the 18 and the 20. You can tell, though, like I said, on the short run that the 18, not as good. The 20 definitely has the better car, but the 18 has the clean air. So obviously the clean air, despite not having the best short run car, as we know in racing, clean air is key. So we run about 20 laps, but then we have our first real caution of the race. Unfortunately, Nate Moeller had spun around. Thankfully, didn't hit anything. They were running the Toyota Dodge. If you guys want to know what the Toyota Dodge is, I know I've said it on the show a couple times. As you guys saw in the race, it was a Toyota with a Dodge chassis. Yes, that is a Dodge chassis that the 06 was this weekend. It was an old Chip Ganassi car that Jamie McMurray started running in 2003. It was then sold to Allgaier Motorsports, where guys like Justin Allgaier and Rob Brent ran the car. And then it was sold to Peterson. So car's got a lot of history to it, a lot of history. It's why I love about that car so much. And then they cut the Dodge body off and they put the Toyota body on it. I believe the chassis number is CGR 211 for the chassis people. And if I'm also correct, I think it's got a Chevy motor, which is, if that's the case, that's awesome. Chevy motor, Toyota body, Dodge chassis. Gotta love that. Yes, that was the blue car from 2016, if you guys are also curious. CGR 211 is the Chevy. I don't know, man. I get all these Peterson cars mixed up. All I know is Wayne Peterson's got a hell of history with his cars, and I love it. I love the fact that we got a 20-year-old car in this race. Brad's Ford, actually pretty new, but I love the fact that we got these old chassis in this race still. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. So by this point, though, the stragglers, like I said, they really had been struggling at this point. The 31 was on and off pit road multiple times. I don't know if she was getting black flagged or had she did have a tire down, so she was especially slow. Daryl Basham, I don't know if the 11 had tires. I don't know if the 06 and the 11 necessarily had tires or if they were really any good tires because they appeared to be slower. It did look like that the 12 and the 03 were actually able to keep up a decent pace, of course. But again, I don't blame that on the 11 and 12. You know, when it's all you got, it's all you got. So, yeah. And plus, it was Nate's first full race. I know Nate Moeller's done some starting parts, but this was his first full race. So, definitely the inexperience was there. Coming back green on lap 105, Sawalich was able to keep the lead. Up until the second stage break, where we had Andy Jankowiak did get the free pass on the 06 spin, and Dylan Smith got the free pass on the second scheduled break, which again kept us at 6 lead lap cars. But it was still clear at this point that if someone else was going to win the race, the 18 and the 20 had to take each other out. But it was also clear that coming into the second stage break, there was not much the 18 could do. Even if the 18 won the race and the 20 car finished second, they were going to win the Owners' Championship. So what was going to happen? Was the 18 going to dump the 20? Well, I mean, what was going to happen here? We don't know. I mean, I thought the 18 was going to dump the 20 because at the end of the day, money's money, man. That's how the series works sometimes. So we get back going from the scheduled break. Jesse Love actually takes the lead on this next one. He gets the jump. He gets the lead from William Sawalich. We get going green for 15 laps, and then we have the big moment of the race where we had Dylan Mamba Smith and Andy Jankowiak racing into turn 3. Now, we had Dylan Smith, I believe he was on the inside, or was he on the inside or outside? Either way, the 73 and the 15, it looked like they crowded each other going into turn 3. One car ran out of room, and unfortunately, I think it was the 15 was on the inside. Was he on the inside? Was he on the inside or the outside? I can't quite remember off the top of my head because it's been a little bit since I've seen the crash. Could someone fill me in? Who's on the inside and outside in the chat? Could someone fill me in? I know it was Andy and Dylan, but I don't remember who was who. If someone in the chat could help me there. But they made contact going into turn 3. Heavy damage to both cars. Like as we know at Toledo, they have styrofoam blocks as walls. I love that. That's a real throwback. So the 73 took a pretty good hit to the rear. And the 15, the toe was completely knocked out. The car was pushing. Both cars' days were ruined. They were not going to be competitive. And then, it wasn't ARCA brakes. I know people love to make the ARCA brakes jokes, which is not funny in some cases. John Garrett, in my opinion, I watched the crash a couple times. I don't know what else he could have done. He had a car that was inside, so there's really nowhere he could have gone. And unfortunately, he just plowed. I don't know. I think he plowed into the 73. I don't know which car he plowed into, but Unfortunately, John Garrett plowed into a car and destroyed the front of his Veer Motorsports car. And I mean destroyed it. Zachary Tinkle sent me a photo, who was there with Fast Track. I posted it to Twitter. He hit the 15. Okay, yeah, that car was torn up, man. And then that really sucks because, guys like Andy and the Veer Motorsports team, they can't really afford that kind of stuff. I mean, I know, Johns brings a lot of funding, but they still can't afford that kind of accident. A lot of the car's not totaled. It's not totaled, but new body work, new radiator, might be a new motor, just a lot of work to be done. And it sucks because it's the last race of the year. That's not what you want to go out with. So that kind of sucked. That was, like I said, the big moment of the race. The 73 actually managed to get going and stay on the lead lap. But the unfortunate part is the spin flat spotted his tires. They kept the same tires on. They tried to repair the damage, but he actually stayed on the lead lap. So he was able to nurse a decent finish. The 15, he had to spend a couple laps fixing the suspension. And boy, yeah, after they went back green, the 73, he was pushing due to probably old tires. And the 15 was really pushing up in the corners, like the car did not want to turn. Probably because, number one, the toe was knocked out, and the suspension was probably pointing a different direction than it was when the race had started. So unfortunate endings for Mamba Smith and Andy Jankoliak, as they easily had top 5 cars and had to settle for 7th and 9th. Meanwhile, in all that, we come back green on lap 153. Jesse Love does get the jump. Jesse Love gets the jump on William Sawalich. But this time I'm like, okay, this might be the final restart of the race. Sawalich has to do something here. And he ran down the 20 fast. I mean, Sawalich really ran down Jesse Love quickly. Within 16 laps, he was right on his bumper. And I commend William Sawalich for this. And this is where I would say massive respect. They easily could have dumped the 20. And I mean easily. Ran into turn 1, just flat out dumped him, sent the 20 into the wall, and they win the Owners' Championship, and the 20 can't continue. But what did he do? He got under him. He moved him out of the way. He bump and run, classic bump and run, and he just passed him, clean as a whistle. And I'm like, you know what? I sat there and I looked at that. I'm like, you know what? That's a good thing. Don't teach a young driver like William to just go there and dump someone out of the way. I'm okay with that. I'm like, that's respectful. And once William Sawalich got the lead with 35 laps to go, there was no stopping him. There was no stopping him whatsoever. Should be noted that on that restart, Sean Hingorani did get to second, but William Sawalich made short work of him. And the gap kind of stabilized at about a second, and that was really it. William Sawalich cruised to an easy victory. He won the Shore Lunch 200. Hard to believe. You think of how competitive the 18 car was this year. The 18 car only won 5 races this year. Isn't that kind of weird to say? The 18 car only won 5 races this year, and 4 only came from Sawalich. It's kind of weird because you think William would have won all these races, but he only won 4. So, but due to the clean racing and him finishing second, Jesse Love and the number 20 Venturini Motorsports team win the Drivers' Championship and the Owners' Championship. So the best, obviously the best outcome possible for Venturini Motorsports as they win the Owners' Championship. They break the JGR streak. KBM did win last year technically, but it really was JGR, just a different name. All the equipment still came from JGR. The hauler was from JGR. In 2021, they obviously won the Owners' Championship. I believe in 2020, I think in 2020, they won the Owners' Championship as well. So Venturini returns to the Owners' Championship ranks as winning now again. So good for them. Sean Hingorani, he was the guy who practiced third, qualified third, finished the race third. He was the third place car in this one. Andres Perez de Lara was fourth. Christian Rose managed a very solid top 5 finish. Great way to end his year. Mason Ludwig did a great job in the 63 for Jeff Spraker, finished 6th. Andy J, like I said, nursed it to 7th. Frankie Muniz, like I said, they had a sponsor, but just weren't competitive. It was a long year, a very long year for Frankie Muniz. We'll talk about him in a second. He was 8th. Dylan Smith was 9th. Stephanie Moyer got a top 10. Alex Clubb was 11th. Daryl Basham, he did finish, so I was happy to see 74-year-old Daryl run the whole race. And Nate Moeller was the last car running in 13th. Rita Goulet ran 153 laps before mechanical problems. She was just on and off pit road so many times, and then they just retired the car. Like I said, so 13 of the 18 starters finished. Overall, I thought it was okay, and I really do respect how much the 18 and the 20 raced each other with respect. And I like that because I fully expected them to take each other out. We kind of predicted that on the podcast, so I commend that. And as you guys can see, I'm in my Venturini shirt, so had to be festive for Team Venturini for tonight's show. But congratulations to them. Like I said, Venturini, these guys, they're the Hendrick Motorsports of the ARCA Series. They've been the Hendrick Motorsports of the ARCA Series for the last 15-plus years. They're in the lifeblood of this series next to Andy Hillenberg and Brad Smith. For all the people that complain, about Venturini Motorsports, we need them. We need them in the series. They're great for the series, great people that work for Venturini Motorsports. Big Bill, I love Big Bill. He always greets me when I'm in the garage. Sometimes he'll come and punch me in the back when I'm not looking because that's just Big Bill. I love Big Bill. Big Bill Venturini is the best. He always lends a helping hand. Like if we need a set of practice tires, he'll give us a set of practice. He'll turn over a practice set to us on the 48 team. So I got nothing bad to say about the Venturinis. I got nothing bad to say about their team. I can understand some people's hate towards them, but I don't see it. I like them. So that was the race, the final point standings for the 2023 ARCA Menard Series season on the driver's side. Jesse Love wins the championship by 142 points. Definitely a clean out. Jesse Love had an average start of 3.2, an average finish of 4.1, only 2 DNFs. Very impressive year. 18 top 10s out of 20 races, 7 poles. Definitely, like I said, guys, a great year. Andres Perez de Lara was 2nd. Christian Rose was 3rd. Frankie Muniz ended up 4th after leading the points at some point. John Garrett ended up 5th. Brad Smith was 6th, and they were the only full-time cars. AJ Moyer, who we know split from Peterson after Bristol, he could not find a ride for the rest of the year, so he had to sit out the last couple of races. He was 7th. William Sawalich, who missed 7 races, still ended up 8th. Tony Breidinger, who missed 7 races, ended up 9th. Tim Monroe, who actually ran 16 of the 20 races, ended up 10th. Alex Clubb was 11th. And I think the only other full-timer was like Andy Jankowiak, who ran 14 races. He was 14th. The Owners' Championship final standings are as this for the main series. Billy Venturini, he is the official owner of the 20 car, so he wins the Owners' Championship. The Joe Gibbs 18 car was 2nd, came up 10 points shy. The Max Siegel 2 car was 3rd. Kathy Venturini, the 25 car, finished 4th. And the Bill Venturini 15 car ended up 5th. So 3 full-time Venturini cars in the top 5 ARCA points. Kevin Sawinski in the 32 car for AM Racing ended up 6th. Mark Rett in the 30 car ended up 7th. And then, this is what I love, Andy Hillenberg's 11 car was 8th. The number 66 car that was officially owned by Dustin Hillenberg. I love how they all did different names. Dustin Hillenberg was listed as the owner of the 66 in 9th. Andy Hillenberg in the 10th. And Michelle Hillenberg 11th in the 12. Then Alex Clubb in the 03 was 12th. Wayne Peterson was 13th in the 06. And Brad Smith was the final full-time car in owner's points in 14th. The everlasting top 20 battle that I talk to you guys about on a weekly basis with the ARCA series, the top 20, get the little bit of a bonus money at the end of the year. The 69 car, which I'd been doing some starting parks to try to get in there, they were able to get it. The final cars who were able to get the B plan, which is a little bit of extra purse money, were the 55, which ran 14 races, the 6, which ran 12, and the 69, which attempted 14, and the 31, which attempted 13. The 73 and the 45 were the last 2 cars to get the top 20 bonus, the cars that narrowly missed out. Greg Van Alst's 35 car and Cody Robar's 97 car were 21st and 22nd. They do not get part of that bonus money. So those were the owner points. Then some of the special awards due to Jesse Love winning the championship. I don't know if this rule has been changed. I don't know if this rule has been changed, but as we know, when Christian Eckes won the championship in 2019, the Bounty Rookie of the Year, Jesse Love. It does have Jesse Love as the winner of the Bounty Rookie of the Year. But I wanted to know, since he won the championship, does that mean that it goes to Andres Perez de Lara? Because we did see that in 2019 with Christian Eckes. When he won the championship, the award was given to Tommy Vi Jr. in 2019. So I wonder, is that rule still stands? Did Jesse Love win both, or was Andres Perez de Lara actually won the title by default? I don't know. I don't know if they've changed that rule, but right now it has Jesse Love as winning both the Rookie of the Year and the championship. In terms of other awards, we had the CGS Imaging 4-crown title. That was settled at Talladega, Elko, Mid-Ohio, and Springfield. That was actually won by Andres Perez de Lara over Frankie Muniz. So at least de Lara did get himself a little bit of a championship award. We had the Comedic Crew Chief of the Year award, which is kind of cool, which went to Matt Ross, looks like it went to Matt Ross, and the number 18. So that's kind of cool. Some other awards we had the General Tire Speedway Challenge, which was looks like it was a 5 or 6 race deal. That was won by Joe Gibbs Racing narrowly over Venturini Motorsports. So hey, at least Joe Gibbs Racing won something over Venturini this year, So yeah, there we go. The Manufacturers Championship, unshockingly, I think this one was pretty obvious. Toyota decimated Chevrolet and Ford. 171 to 121 and 89. So yeah, Toyota definitely has the ARCA series, that's for sure. The Racing Electronics Lightning Championship, or Challenge, I guess as you call it, was won by Max Siegel by quite a huge margin over Mark Rett. So another win for Max Siegel's team. And then S&S Volvo Long Haul Award. Actually, a pretty great winner for this one. We had John Garrett win it over William Sawalich. So great for John Garrett. They win the laps completed of S&S Volvo Long Haul Award. So good for that organization. Good for that organization. So those were some of the other main series awards that were given out this year. So yeah, that was kind of the ARC Series as 2023. Overall, the main series division did lack in competitiveness. I thought the first 2 races were phenomenal. Daytona and Phoenix were just great races, perfect embodiment of what the series really should be. But I'll admit, the other races did lack. The 18 and the 20 did get repetitive. It did get annoying. But it's like I said, when you're both spending the most money, it makes sense. When you're both spending the most money every week, you're going to run that good. The problem is you don't need to. But as we know, William Sawalich is expected to return to the 18 ARCA car next year. Jesse Love, it's kind of weird for Jesse Love. Jesse Love is expected to go to trucks and ARCA next year. He'll run part-time in both series. To me, that makes no sense at all. Why would you have a talent like Jesse Love only part-time in both series? It's kind of weird to me. But that's where Jesse Love is expected to go. Tony Breidinger is expected to go to Tricon next year. And potentially replace Dean Thompson. We know Frankie Muniz, the rumors are he might go to RSS Racing, but he did say that they will continue to run him in ARCA next year. So do expect Frankie Muniz to return to ARCA next year on a part-time basis, about 8 to 10 races, I think, with the 30 team, just not full-time. So I would expect to see Frankie in the Daytona ARCA race next year. They said they'll probably run Frankie at the big tracks, like Michigan, Daytona, Talladega, Kansas. You know what I'm talking about. Some other stuff. John Garrett is looking for 2024 funding. I'm looking for 2024 funding. So if you want to sponsor someone, you got a guy right here. Just saying, because I want to run the ARCA series next year. And I'm not joking either. I'm actually serious about that. Connor Jones, I would expect him to go. He's expected to go to full-time trucks next year for Thor Sport, but it wouldn't shock me if he runs some ARCA races anyway with Venturini, as they've had a long relationship. Mason Ludwig, who ran the 63, he's trying to run full-time. It's going to be interesting to see what the main series looks like next year, because we know that William Sawalich cannot run for the championship next year. And as of right now, Venturini has not confirmed a full-time driver. So the possibilities are wide open as to who could win the championship next year. We know Christian Rose will be back next year in the 32 car. I think right now, Brad Smith and Christian Rose are the only two drivers confirmed full-time next year. Imagine that, Brad Smith versus Christian Rose, the ultimate championship battle. Brad Smith versus Christian Rose. Wouldn't that just be great? I would love that. I would absolutely freaking love that. Maybe Amber Balkin. She's trying to come back full-time in ARCA. She had a really bad year in the 30, but maybe she could do better for another team. The sky's the limit with this series next year. I don't think it'll be the 18 and the 20 as much next year, especially with Jesse Love not running full-time. I don't think the 18 will try as hard because I know they're going to try to get William some more truck starts next year. They're going to try to get William maybe even an Xfinity start next year. So they might not be putting as much effort or time into that ARCA program as they were this year. The 28, we know Pinnacle wants to run full-time. They just need more money. Pinnacle was really one of the few teams that actually showed real promise outside of the 18 and the 20. We know Landon Lewis is expected to do more races for the CR7 team. Could Landon Lewis run full-time next year for CR7? Who knows? Like I said, lots of possibilities of what could happen next year. So I think ARCA 2024 is going to be overall a better year. I think overall the main series next year will be better. But there's lots of possibilities. Like I said, expect me to run. I am planning to run. That's no joke. I'm not just messing with you guys here. I'm legitimately running. If you guys have followed my account, I got the gear. I'm setting some stuff up with Will Kimmel to help me get approved. So, yes. And also for the E-Series, some E-Series news. Fenhouse is expected to run again. Hingorani is also expected to run again. And William Sawalich is also expected to run again as well. So, so there are some confirmed East entries for next year. So, yeah, that was the main series for 2023. Overall, not the best year for ARCA. I got to be honest with you, not the best year. But I will say this. The Daytona 2023 ARCA race, I think that'll go down as one of the top 10 stock car races of the year. Now, you can say I'm laughing at that, but you cannot deny. I think the 2023 Brant 200 top 10 stock car races of the year. That ARCA race was perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, yeah, that was the main division for 2023, guys. We went over all the championship battles there. And now we move over to the West Series. The West Series, it's kind of weird that the West Series goes longer than the main division, but that's just kind of how the schedule's been like the last couple years. The West Series will be running this weekend at the Las Vegas Bullring, literally tomorrow night. Then they go to Madera, the first time they've been to Madera in years. And then, of course, we have Phoenix, which is the West Series championship race, which will more than likely include a lot of main series competitor teams. Like the 18 is expected to be there. The 20 is expected to be there. Something like that. So, but we will go over the entry list. The Star Nursery 150. Star Nursery has been one of the long-time sponsors. No, ARCA does not need to leave a short track. ARCA needs to have their season finale at a short track. Nowhere else. But the Star Nursery 150 at the Las Vegas Bullring, a pretty solid entry list. The West Series, it's one of the, in my opinion, it's the best series of all ARCA, just because of how even the equipment is over there. But we'll start it off 22 cars. We'll start it off with Robbie Keenely and the 1, the 3 of Todd Souza, the 4 of Eric Nascimento Jr. We got the 5 of Dustin Ash, who makes his return in the Jerry Pitts entry. Good old Takuma Koga. Got to love him. We got Tyler Reif in the 13. Of course, Sean Hingorani, the championship leader, likely champion in the 15. Tanner Reif, Caden Honeycutt. He did confirm he will be in the 17 for the final. Excuse me there. He will be in the 17, the final races of the year. Greg Potts will be in the 21 in the second Nascimento entry. Of course, Bradley Erickson running his other car for this year, the 23 car, which is under his new organization. Good old Bobby Hillis. Yes, Bobby Hillis is back, everybody. Woo! Good old for Bobby Hillis. Great to see him back. Great to see Camping World back on board. Tim Goulet in the 31, although I think I don't know if they'll withdraw. They were going to go, but I don't know if they actually are going 100%. RJ Smotherman in the 38. Gotta love RJ. In my opinion, also in the 49 car, one of the coolest names in racing, honestly. One of the coolest names, and I really do mean this. Monty Tipton. That is an awesome name for a race car driver. Monty Tipton. I love that. That we need names like that in racing. Monty Tipton. I love that. Driving a car for Robbie Keenely, the 49. That is such an awesome name. So shout out to Monty Tipton. I love that name. The 50 of Trevor Huddleston, the 66 of Eric Red. He usually comes out to run this race. Of course, the 70 of Kyle Keller, the 71 of Nick Jonides. Mariah Baudrillard is back in the 77, making her first start in a couple years. Dylan Capello is in the 88. No Joey East this weekend. And then, of course, good old David Smith in the 05. So a very solid field of cars, I will say. Like I said, the West Series has always done a good job at providing decent racing. Caden Honeycutt, we know he dominated at All-American, led almost every single lap. So he is my pick to win. Unshockingly, I am picking Caden Honeycutt to win this race just because of his short track background. I mean, we know Sean Hingorani, he's got probably the better car. He's probably got the better car, does Sean Hingorani, but I feel like we got a late entry. Oh, looks like Loudon Jackson will be there too. So we got a late entry. The 41 of Jacob Smith from the Loudon Jackson Motorsports team will be there as well. Okay, so still 22 cars. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I feel like Venturini brings a better car, but MMI and Bruce Cook bring a better driver, if that makes sense. I don't think the 17 is as strong as the 15, but the 17 is a better driver than the 15. That's where I feel like Caden is better than the 15 car, because I feel like Sean Hingorani uses his stuff up too fast. And then you got Caden Honeycutt, who knows how to manage his equipment over the race and be able to stay ahead of the field while doing it. So I think it's going to be a good race. I think it's going to be chaos too. The Las Vegas Bullring always provides great excitement. My pick to win is Caden Honeycutt. My underdog pick for this one, I'm going with Tyler Reif. The standings for this, we know Sean Hingorani, since Landon Lewis is no longer in the series. And, of course, with what happened with Trevor Huddleston at the latest race in All-American, Sean Hingorani, unless something goes wrong, will be your 2023 ARCA Menard Series West champion. He will be the champion. 37-point lead. That's going to be hard for him to lose. But we do have an Owners Championship battle in our hands. So, like I said, it's good old Owners Championships. Even though the 17 car has now had two drivers, they are still in line for two championships. And right now they lead. The 17 car of Steve McGowan does lead the Owners Championship right now by 5 points over Bill Venturini. So, and they're way far ahead of everyone else. It's just a two-car race. But definitely for the 17 team, it's vindication, man. It's vindication. They are trying their best to stay ahead of the 15 and show Landon Lewis, hey, you shouldn't have left us. You should not have left us. So there's still a battle to be won there, and that's what Caden posted that. That's what they're going after, is that Owners Championship. So I think it's going to be a great series. Yeah, I wish, nothing in the Coke series is the Coke series pays out more than the ARCA series does, which is so stupid. The Coke series, the fact that the iRacing Coke League pays out just as good as ARCA is a joke, in my personal opinion. I know some people are talking about the Coke series in the chat. Just kind of my opinion on it. But I think it's going to be chaos. I think the 17 and the 15 will race hard. Maybe someone could capitalize. Like I said, we know the Jerry Pitts cars, they're pretty good. The Nascimento cars, they're really good. Tyler Reif has been so close, man. Todd Souza, don't ever count him out. Lots of heavy hitters for this one. Like I said, I'm picking Caden Honeycutt. My underdog is Tyler Reif. We know that Sean Hingorani is more than likely the owner's champion. We also know that there's in the drivers' championship, the owners' championship's on the line between MMI and Venturini. So Venturini trying to win a lot here, man. They're trying to win the main series title, or they won the main series title. They won the main series owners title. Did they win any East races? They won the Dover East race. They've won a lot of West races, and they're trying to win the West Series drivers and owners championship. So, yeah, definitely a lot for Venturini to go for this year. They're a gambling team. They've got the money behind them from Mobile One, of course, so why not go for it? So, yeah, it should be a fun race, guys. We'll go over the competitor sheet real quick before we get out of here. So, of course, you can find all these entry blanks on the ARCA competitor website. It is free. Just go on the website and find the competitors section. It is live tomorrow night at 9:10 p.m. Central Time, 10:10 p.m. Eastern, on Flow Racing. First place is $5,000. Last place in 21st or 22nd is $1,000. Again, wish we could get these payouts a little higher. Top prize money with all the contingency awards is $12,750, $63.25 for second, and $4,050 for third. So those are the purse money winnings. Again, tomorrow, Friday, October 13th at 10:10 p.m. Eastern on Flow Racing. So I hope you guys tune in to watch it, or you can wait until CNBC reruns it in about a week. So, whew, like I said, guys, another ARCA season is coming close to in the books. East Series is wrapped up. Main Series just wrapped up. And we've got 3 races left in the West Series Championship, man. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun. Madera, the return to that track is going to be a lot of fun. And Phoenix, man, it's going to have a 30-plus car field. It's going to be wild. So, whew. Goddamn, guys. Been a long day. Been a long day. Been a long show. Here been for 53 minutes. But I'm going to get out of your hairs, guys. Thank you all for watching for this weekend's show. Go check out NASCAR Backmarker Battles if you have not. Again, leave a like on this video. Leave a like on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on that bell for notifications so you guys never miss a damn podcast when we go live, okay? We only have 3 likes, so goal is 10 likes before we get to next week's podcast. So take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Las Vegas. And I will see y'all next week for another round of NASCAR Backmarker Battles and ARCA Racing Podcast. So I'm Colby Evans, giving you all the goodbye salute, and I will see y'all next week. So take care, guys. Goodbye.